What's going on, you guys? Slim here, finally back after what seems forever with a new video for you guys. And today, you guys, I actually have a first place deck profile from the remote regional that took place last weekend. I actually was participating myself, literally just to shake off the dust. I actually haven't played the game in quite some time outside of playing online. I just wanted to get some games in, and it was just to kind of refresh my mind on what the format was. But shout out to my boy Mastalarek. He ended up taking first place with, of all decks, TRI-BRIGADE Sprite. I was absolutely shocked when he sent this to me and showed me how he literally just won the whole event with this. He actually played my boy Triff in the finals, which is crazy. Shout out to both of them for doing so well. I know Triff was on Vanadium. The fact that he was able to pull it through with TRI-BRIGADE Sprite, which is a deck that honestly has not seen a lot of play. It's something that we haven't seen in a very long time, and honestly I was just really shocked that this was his deck of choice. I know from back in the day he had played TRI-BRIGADE. I had seen it before. The fact that he just matched it up with Sprite, which was a deck that we have seen at previous events before the new formats came into effect, with like Unchained and Pearly and all these new decks. I was just shocked that he still ran it back with this deck, but I think it was a really good call. I think a lot of players actually forgot how to play against TRI-BRIGADE, let alone having the Sprite engine to back it up is crazy. The synergy is there. This card is still crazy. Like, I don't care what anyone says, TRI-BRIGADE Revolt has always been insane. Like, literally this card is just nuts, and just being able to have that on top of your Sprite engine is crazy. He also played a good amount of hand traps that do answer a lot of problems in the format, so I think the deck was very well versed in this in this remote regionals. It was 7 rounds, so it wasn't as big of a tournament, but it was one that was full of meta. I myself played all meta decks. Like, I literally played all meta decks. I played against a bunch of Unchained. I played against Chimera. I played against all the new decks to learn the format. This was basically a learning experience for me. And to see Vanadium up there, piloted by Triff, and then to see this deck piloted by Matt, it was just awesome. But I wanted to showcase the deck for you guys. Matt and I have played before, like in remote, so definitely shout out to you, bro. Great to see you still playing them and to, still having some crazy success, and with a deck that I think a lot of people forgot. But with all that being said, we are going to get into it. Of course, all my links are in the description below. I will be coming back with more content, you guys. I know it's been a really long time. I am going to update you guys, not only on the content, but also on my series that kind of took a hiatus. But it will be coming back thanks to one of the new structure decks that is coming out, so I'll definitely be keeping you guys up to date with that. But with that being said, let's hop into it. To start with the TRI-BRIGADE engine, he played 3 copies of Kit, pretty standard. He also played the 1 copy of Karaz, 2 copies of Nerval. That was it for the main TRI-BRIGADE monsters, and then of course he does have the 1 Revolt. This card is still absolutely nuts, still making your main guy over here, Shirag, is just crazy. Like, don't sleep on this. I know it's been a really long time since we've seen TRI-BRIGADE do anything like super relevant, but definitely don't sleep on this deck or sleep on this engine. I think it's still something that we do need to be aware of. It can still really catch you off guard, and they can really just close out the game with this combo on top of other Sprite plays that they do as well. So moving on to the Sprite engine, of course he's got the triple copies of Nimble Beaver along with the 2 copies of Angler. That's just standard, just gets your rank 2s going. Of course, for the Sprite monsters, 3 blue. He's also got the full 3 copies of 3 jet, and he's got a 2 red along with the 1 carrot, so he has everything here for the negates that he needs. So you are setting up a pretty oppressive board of negates, and then you are also setting up the ability to fire back, on the clap back with the Revolt to disrupt your opponent. Then literally you basically have game on board. So it's very, very straightforward how the deck plays. And then what really pseudos this, makes it a lot stronger, is all the hand traps he is playing. I do like his choices. He decided to go with 3 Ash, 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm. I really like this because this deals with the effect directly. This of course is for brand infusion. This of course is for any main effect that you do need to Ash. I like Veiler and Imperm though. I think they do a lot for the format. Of course, Veiler being able to Imperm being able to play around talents is crazy. Veiler being able to just negate something else is crazy, and also not being once per turn. I think that's the one thing people forget about Veiler. It is an old school hand trap. It is not once per turn, so if you have multiple copies, you can have multiple negates on top of the negates that you set up on the board, and you just Veiler what gets in your way if you're not dealing with it through your Sprite monsters. So I really, really like this approach. I think it was very solid, and I think 9 is a really good number in a 40 card deck. And then for the other Sprite cards, of course, he's got the 2 starter and the 1 smashers, just deals with anything that really gets in the way. Called by, of course, to play around hand traps, and you've also got the Foolish to get your plays started. And then he did main deck Trickle Book of Moon. That, of course, is standard for this format. Very good against Pearly. Very good against a lot of decks this format. I know Kashtira with Rise Heart gone has really, changed the format for the better. I think that with Book of Moon, just still being a really good card, can be a 1-for-1 answer, can really shut down your opponent from playing. I like this a lot. It's a very good disruptive card as an alternative to a hand trap. And then you rounded out the deck with 2 copies of Talents. This card is still crazy. Just, 3 effects effects in one. Just very good for either taking a monster to end the game, being able to look at your opponent's hand to take away their answers, or drawing 2 cards to get, to get more gas going. I think it was a very solid choice and a very solid 40 cards for the main deck. Now onto the side deck, he does have 3 more hand traps. Of course, it is Nibiru. Nibiru is still crazy. Can be good against Enchained if if they play into it. Can be good against any type of combo deck that plays right into it. I think Nib is as strong as it's always been. I think it's even better this format. I think a lot of players don't really respect it, and therefore they walk into it. So yeah, Nibiru is very solid. For the Bystials, of course, since Magnuma did go to 1, you are playing the 1 with the 2 copies of Druid Worm. That is very standard. Still very good against Unchained. Very good against light and dark decks. Just puts extra bodies on the board. Now that Tier Elements is back in the format, being able to deal with their monsters is great. So we love the Bystials. We love all the hand traps to stop any of their normal summons. So yeah, it's very solid. I like it a lot. And then of course 3 more Book of Eclipse. You have the 3 Eclipse and 3 Book just to turn everything off. I think that really is one of the best things you can do this format. Being able to turn off a whole board with Eclipse is nuts. Your opponent may draw, but honestly, you can just win the game on the clapback, and a lot of times you're not going to be able to stop it. So very, very solid. And then 3 Cosmic and 3 Evenly, just board breakers and Evenly, and 3 Cosmics, pretty much for back row decks. Very standard. I like this. I like this a lot against decks like Labyrinth or anything you really need to respond to. Being able to interrupt them and respond to their activations is great. Also against Runic, being able to hit the fountain is super important. Being able to banish it is super important. Very hard to get back. You may not even be able to get it back at all. So very solid. And then Evenly is just as strong as it's always been. Very good just going second to break boards and then just build your board and call it a day. And then lastly, we'll go to his extra deck. Of course, we got the 1 copy of Zeus and the Downard for the Zeus just to have more materials. 2 copies of Gigantic Sprite. That's just standard. This card was really interesting. I actually had not heard of this card. The Ninja Shadow Mosquito. This card is very cool. It can't be destroyed by battle. Also, you take no damage from battle involving this card. So this card is very solid for making your Zeus. You just you literally make a rank 2 like this, and you literally can just slap a Zeus. So yeah, you do this, you go into Downard, you go into this. It's very, very solid. So I like this card a lot. Very, very cool. Definitely a card that I did not think of, but very cool to see. I have heard the name in the past, but I just didn't know players were still playing it, so I like it a lot. Very solid. Then for the links, pretty standard. You got the 1 copy of Sprite Sprint. You've got, of course, the IP. You got the 1 copy of Pick Night Early. This card's very cool. Make sure you read, especially its placement. It really can mess you up. So this card is very solid. You still got the standard. You got the Dragon Lords. This card, just being able to bounce is insane. Of course, you have the Firajit. You also have the Bear Brum. Of course, that gets you into your trap, like best card in your deck. You've got I've always been struggling to pronounce this, but I think it's Harassvogler, or whatever its name is, the Doom Eagle, but yeah, 1 copy of that. That's still very solid. Then, of course, you got the main man, Shirag, Ominous Omen. You just make this card off of your Revolt, and you just keep going. It's crazy. 1 copy of Appaloosa. You make this card all the time in this deck, and then 1 access code to clear out the last of the remaining cards and win the game. But that is the deck, you guys. Again, shout out to my boy Matt. Congratulations for winning the regional. Really, really solid. Really cool to see a different deck on top for once. It was awesome to see that the finals was basically this and Vanadium, 2 decks that, don't get enough attention, and I think it was great that we got to see them have success over decks like Sprite, over decks like Unchained, over decks like Pearly, all the decks we have been seeing, and of course, no Kashtira in the format. It's amazing to see other decks, prosper once again. But that's all I got for today, you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll be back to you guys soon with more content and some updates, and hopefully you guys will check out the rest of the videos, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.